Hard hat's all about showing up to play hard, doing what it takes to win.
If you want to cement legacy, win another.
He's your third center.
You don't want to pump him up too much, but it's hard not to.
This is maybe the most I've ever agreed with you.
Here we are. Jimmy Toscano, Bill Chisholm taking in another game as Celtics owner. Number 2.
Billy Boy.
Billy Boy is now 1-1 watching Celtics games.
Yeah.
At
when you
TD Garden.
When you buy the team, it comes with a courtside seat. Apparently,
it does, but you have to sit next to Wick.
But look at the power move on Bill. Look at the power move on Bill. Can we go back to that for a second?
What
Looked like he was kind of boxing.
He's spreading his legs a little wider than last time.
Like, did you see Wick?
Yeah.
Wick was barely.
Yeah.
Wick barely had a seat.
Yeah. There. Owner gets this much leg room. Governor gets this much. All right, let's get this right.
Yeah, that's a power move by Bill. I gotta say, tip my cap to it.
I like it, Billy Boy.
You kind of just sort of stake your claim to everything. You know?
Joe, you guys were obviously able to have a big offensive night against them last week as well. Was their defensive approach any different tonight, and how were you guys able to get
to Joe?
Yeah, I mean, I went to a different starting lineup there. Went to more switching, and I thought our guys did a good job of just kind of handling their physicality. I thought, JB set the tone and with his physicality driving to the basket, and then I thought our off-ball work was really good with whether it was KP, Al, D. White, JT, and Drew and those guys, and so we're just able to play against. The game plan was different this game, but we were able to execute against it.
You guys are so good at explaining the mismatches and kind of doing that over and over and over again. When you have a good mismatch that you're kind of taking advantage of out there, and maybe it leaves other guys out of the mix offensively, is there a balance between kind of exploiting that over and over again and, maybe getting the ball to some other guys in the flow of the offense?
Did that happen today?
Derek and Drew kind of had like 3 attempts early. Chris Stapps, Jalen, Jason kind of getting the mismatch more often early. What's kind of that balance like?
I mean, 16, 18, 12, 9, 7,
Bobby
5,
got
5,
him.
6. I mean, I think those are all really good numbers. I think at the end of the day,
Bobby got him.
A lot of it has to do with how being defended and what the coverage solutions are and just fighting for good shots. And regardless of who that is as long as the process to fighting for a good shot versus a coverage and we have great spacing, that's what we have to do. But I thought it was pretty well balanced throughout the game from an execution standpoint. And, we were able to generate some good looks.
Was it a good chance to give the full rotation a chance to play together in a game before the postseason? I think it was the first time since late February where you had everybody available for a game.
Yes. Did you ask me something?
I said, was it good to have?
Yeah. I mean, it was good.
You ask a yes or no question.
He knew exactly.
More importantly,
what
it's just
it was.
making sure we get reps. So we were able to do some stuff at shoot around today. Obviously you want to get some reps of those guys as long as we maintain our health, which I think we did. And I thought they were able to, just kind of execute and communicate with each other on both ends of the floor. So, KP only at 23 because, obviously got the stitches, but tried to get them, higher in minutes and reps together. And I thought they did a good job of it.
Jalen is obviously figuring things out with the knee issue. What have you seen from him in just trying to adjust his game however he needs to adjust it? And what is the responsibility from a coaching perspective to kind of help him along that, like a play calling or anything like that? Is there a responsibility that you have in this?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Responsibility to make the game easy for him, regardless of what the situation is. It's always to make it easier. But to me, it's more about just trust. There's no one that understands his body. There's no one that prepares mentally, physically the way that he does. And he's constantly taking in information on, the environment and what he needs to do. So I think he's doing a great job. He's doing a really good job of handling it. He's doing a good job of managing it. He's doing a good job, whether it's in the weight room or the training room. And then when it comes to the tactical stuff, it's constant communication of how we can get him, in the best position possible to be successful. And, you should be doing that regardless, but even more now, and I think he's really doing a good job of figuring out ways to be effective for our team.
Is there like any kind of watching, if he lands funny, or is there a wince or something like that where you maybe ask him, like, do you need a couple of minutes now, and you adjust the substitution pattern and he has a little bit more say over, I need to come out, I can come back in now? Is there anything like that happening?
It's constant communication. There's no one way. It's just communicating. and trusting, how he feels and what he's doing. But to me, it's the way he prepares himself. He knows what he needs, and constantly asking him, and he's telling me, how we can get through it together. So he's doing a good job of that.
Joe, you guys broke the NBA single season 3-point record tonight. Just what does that accomplishment mean? Say about this group?
It says that we fight for a good shot, regardless of what it is. Less
Yes.
than half of those attempts were from three tonight because of the way they were defending us, and we were able to fight for good looks versus the coverage. And that's the most important thing, is continuing to understand how we're being defended. How can we generate 2-on-1s? How can we create the best shot possible? So it's a credit to the guys for continuing to make the right reads and find their coverage solutions.
Peyton hit the shot. Just what are your thoughts on his 3-point shooting this year in general?
Which one was it?
It was one of the ones in the middle of the second quarter.
Okay. 3-point shooting is great, but to me, it's the other stuff. You take on the challenge tonight of guarding both Beal and Booker. His ability to move without the basketball, had timely offensive rebounds, and you see some of his dribble penetration. So just his play is really important for us to be as good as we need to be, and he's continuing to do that.
Joe, you mentioned Jalen's physicality. He's really good at slowing down the game, finding his spots, whether it's in a mismatch or just getting downhill. What about his game and his progression allows him to sort of
Jalen
slow
Brown's good
down
at
the entire
slowing down
offense
the
to
game?
find his spot?
I think it's just the guys have an understanding of each other. Each guy has a different set of strengths. We we spend a lot of time on communicating to each other what the strengths of each guy is, and I think we lean into the fact that when he has the ball in certain situations, we need to give him driving lanes and space to be able to attack. And so it's just the guys having an understanding of how they can impact each other.
Joe, KP had that bloody nose, and I don't know if you saw when he came out, he was pumping up the crowd. He kind of had his WrestleMania moment that he always looks forward to. How he's been back and he's been healthy for a while now. How do you see his physicality and his embracing of those kind of big contact moments?
Yeah, it's important. He had the block tonight also, and on his own basket, being physical there. And again, he was the spearhead, of attacking their switching and getting deep post catches and getting to the free throw line and fighting for space and fighting for those deep paint touches there. So I think he's embraced that really on both ends of the floor. And tonight he really showed that on the offense of the floor, and then what he did defensively, meeting guys at the rim. It's important that we do that, and I'm grateful that he plays with that physicality.
Joe, what can you guys get out of the last 5 games? I know, there's something you'll find something. What constructive can you do besides keeping guys healthy and fresh and all that over the last week?
We went the second half without a 25-point quarter. We had 3 live ball turnovers. We got 3 for 2s, but we missed, good shots on the back end of the 2 for 1 on that. I thought the middle of the beginning of the fourth quarter, we were a little stagnant. So, there's always stuff that we need to continue to get better at and push ourselves and hold ourselves to a standard.
Is the game plan against a guy like Booker is kind of let him get the 2s?
I think it all depends on how the game is going. And so we were up 20-13, and he had 10 out of the 13 points, and 6 of those came because of our mistakes. So we fouled the pull-up 2, and he got 3 points there. We missed the communication on a switch. He got there, and then he shot a running hook and a floater. And so, those shots you're not going to be able to do. It's real more maintaining the other guys. And so we kept him in check there. And then, when you get off to a double-digit lead and that, it's about making him have to finish inside of the paint versus guys. And I thought we were physical with him. We did a good job showing a crowd, not knowing whether you should shoot it or pass it out, and had good reps of
that. To change gears a little bit, you participated in the To the Max Foundation thing that's going on in the NBA. You wore those custom shoes for the 2nd year in a row. I was wondering if you could just talk about participating in Autism Acceptance Night tonight.
Yeah, I'm grateful that I get to do it. It's for an important cause, and there's 2 close people in my life whose children have autism, and the impact and just that it has on children and families. Scott Morrison and John Jacobs, and Max is my godson, and so be able to represent him and help him any way I can is it's a great opportunity. Thanks.
That is Joe Mazzulla as the Boston Celtics defeat the Phoenix Suns 57-20. Just kidding. That's the Celtics record. 123-103.
Nice. Jokes.
Yeah.
It's Friday, get silly, guys.
Let's get silly.
Yeah, let's get loose.
Love it. I love how Bobby
loose.
Bobby got him. Bobby got him good. He got him good right out of the gate.
Receipts. He came prepared.
He came. Did that happen tonight? Yes, it did. Yes, it
We're gonna ask
freaking
Bobby.
did.
We're gonna ask Bobby about that immediately.
Got
when he
him.
comes on. How did it feel
Boom.
like get him?
Bobby needed a win. It's been 77
He
games.
needed a win.
77 games. Bobby needed one.
He needed a win. We got one.
we
got
him.
one. Don't let us get hot.
Don't let us get
hot
one.
Yeah.
Watch out, Bobby at that next presser. Don't let him get one, Joe. You open the door a crack. Joe's gonna go home. He's gonna be madder about that than anything else that happened.
He's going to be pouring over the game film after
God,
this.
how did I friggin' miss that? How did I let Manning get me?
Damn it, Manning.
Good stuff. Anyway, Celtics win. A get right game after the Miami Heat debacle, and a great sigh of relief game for Jaylen Brown. We will certainly give Jaylen his flowers tonight.
Should we just delete last episode where we were freaking
I got to
out for
delete almost
an hour
everything
and a
I've
half?
said for like 10 days. I got to go back and scrub my Twitter.
Yeah, dude. After text us, you might have to go back and delete
This
those
fucking guy. Oh my god.
We're toast. It's over.
Better without him. Budenhauser.
It's over.
Whatever. We can admit things. This show, as always, is brought to you by Prize Picks, largest daily fantasy sports platform in all of North America. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code CLNS. Get 50 instantly when you play 5. That's code CLNS on Prize Picks. Get 50 instantly when you play 5. Prize Picks, run your game. Also, cool thing about Prize Picks, no tariffs. Also, Game Time. Check it out. Game Time app. Yes, that's how you get in on the action. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, code CLNS, $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. What time is it, Jimmy?
It is 10:13 p.m. Game time. It is game time, baby.
Line. Also, we want you to vote in the 2025 Garden Report March Madness bracket. We have them in both our YouTube channels where we are streaming live right now, as well as a poll running on Twitter or X, whatever you call it these days. And we are in the final 4, and we are Blame Pie. The 4 seed versus the 3 seed. Blame Pie versus Damn it, Amit.
Damn it, Amit. I can't see the results right now. So
I'm being told, damn it, Amit is winning. You're muted came through over on the third center region and the phenomenal region. It could be damn it, Amit. We will see. There's still time to vote. We're going to leave the poll up the entire game, all the way through the game. So please check it out.
So we could have damn it, Amit versus you're muted in the. Is that what you're saying? Could be.
That's what we're looking at for the finals.
What we're looking at right now. Wow.
I think fairly deserving, and I think I
agree. I think I saw those two early on. I think I said you're muted might make a run here out of the four seat spot.
Yeah,
and it has. Damn it, Amit, another winner. No Amit tonight. I couldn't yell it. Damn it, Bailey.
Damn it, Bailey. So that's it. So yeah, again, check that out. It's fun. It's the bracket. It's you guys. You guys help us with these things.
Shoot. Good question here.
Yes, we are counting votes for last show because we put it up prematurely. We'd been doing 2 per night, but the final 4 was supposed to be 1 per game, spaced out with the finals happening on Sunday, where the poll's going to stay open all the way through Monday. We will tabulate the votes, but the last game where you can vote, the voting on the finals begins on Sunday, but this will stay open all the way until tip-off Sunday. So the poll is active on X. It stays active after this, so we do still tabulate. You can go in and you can vote. So check it out.
You're gonna vote here, and then you can go on X or Twitter, and you can vote there. And you can create a bunch of different accounts if you really want to stack the ballot box. You can do it.
Very likely, Amit rigging it, and it could get steamrolled with you're muted.
I don't know. We'll see. We will see. He might, if Amit's smart, he's not watching right now, but if he's smart, he will not roll the music on Sunday, and he will force me or whoever to yell, damn it, Amit. He will. That's how you could do it. That's how you could do it.
Vote early, vote often. As for this game here, hard to not call this a Jaylen Brown game. 31 points, 5 rebounds,
very
3
big
assists,
of you.
10 out of 60 field goals. I'm going to say 2 things. Both of them are going to try to make me look better. In light of everything that I've been saying, but not really.
Yeah, it's going to take a lot. It's going to take more than 2 things.
No, I
for
don't
that
think
to
much.
happen.
Look, here's the thing. I don't think much changes. I, I've had a problem the whole time with the conversation being about why is he playing, which doesn't bug me as much because I have conceded. I'm not a 65 game guy. I haven't not been in that camp.
What does that mean? You're not a 65
I'm not a
guy?
guy. I'm not of the belief that he's chasing the 65, though I believe
Got it.
he probably wants it, but I don't believe that's the only driving force. I'm in the camp that it can't get worse. They know that. So he's learning to play with it, figuring out what he can do. And that's fine when you have games like this or games like the last game he had against Phoenix. When you see him laboring, it seems less fine. And you're like, oh, Jesus, dude, just rest. Why are you putting yourself through this? When you see him grimacing, wincing. When he started this game, I thought he looked awful for about 6, 7, 8 minutes. Like the first stint, I didn't like it at all. He got a couple of buckets, but I was like, oh man, I was like, yeah, he didn't look
asking me.
He didn't look good to me. And I was like, oh no, we're in for another one. And then it just kind of kept coming. I think that weird, crazy 3 that he hit,
that was wild.
That was on a strange sequence because 2 straight sequences, he turned it over the second he tried to dribble, trying to get by somebody. And then again, fumbles the ball, gets all the way out there, looks almost pissed at him, like he knows it's not going well at all. He barely chased it back and heaved it, and then it goes in. It was almost like a light went off there. He was definitely better, but I'm going to give props to Corrales in the press room and Bobby as well for kind of staying with it a little bit. Corrales is still poking at it. Like, so what are you guys doing behind the scenes? Like, what are you keeping an eye? Like, he definitely doesn't look right, but he's able to do some stuff. But are you like worried that like something's going to happen? He's going to like tweak it. Late in the game, they said like he landed funny and he started wincing, and like all of that stuff gives you pause. And you're like, okay, I don't love that. But again, I've really settled in on the camp where I think, Jimmy, that he's just going to have to deal with it all the way throughout. It really comes down to like, what's he going to be with it? Is he going to be able to be effective like he was tonight? Or is he going to struggle, have a tough time finding a shot, and not be able to impact the game? I'm going to guess most people, 9 out of 10 people, will take what they saw tonight and think that that's enough. That's enough. If you get this through the playoffs, I think most people would be happy. But I'm
Are you kidding me? 31 on 10 of 16?
I know, but I just don't want a box score watch because people call us lazy when we do it to point out a bad game, And so, like, I just don't think it's right to necessarily look at it and think it was a great game. I think it was effective, but he felt to me like he was still, like, feeling it out, feeling out what he could do when he could do it. But still, a lot of good things happen there.
I mean, they're playing a Phoenix team that does not know how to or care to play defense. So that's one thing that you have to state. So I think maybe Jaylen Brown knew going into this one it wasn't going to be like the most physically challenging one, and he could probably go out there and play. The thing I'll say about like your point, John, and like, well, maybe they just know it's not going to get worse, so you might as well learn how to play with it. Like, that's one thing to say that about like mallet finger. You can go out there and just play with it, and you learn to play with the sling on with the little thing on your finger. It's another thing if you have like knee pain, or if like the constant pounding of the hardwood is going to cause something to swell or force you to ice it more, or get a lot of work done after the game or on the off days. Like, so I don't really know how playing through it or playing on it can't possibly make it a little bit worse. But without knowing what the actual issue is, it's all guessing. I don't think the team or Jaylen Brown would have him out there playing big minutes if something serious could happen. I just don't know. If he's not playing for 65 games, I just don't really don't know what the big reason to do it is. Like, it's better to be safe than sorry right now. The only thing that can really slow this team down is an injury, is like a serious injury. Now, that being said, Jaylen Brown, did he look 100% tonight? Absolutely not. But it was much more comforting to watch the way he played tonight than it was the last few games, which I think it shows you that, okay, if he does have some knee pain or if he has some discomfort, he can, quote unquote, play through it. And if it was the playoffs, nobody would bat an eye. Nobody would question it at all. Play through the pain, play through whatever discomfort it is. putting up numbers like this, playing the way you are, yeah, would still like to see him be a little bit more aggressive. Again, I think that's more to do with the time of year and the opponent than anything else. But it being, game 70 or whatever, 70 something, it just seems like, okay, you saw what you could do with the pain. Slow it down a little bit here. Take a game off. You're muted.
Yes. You can play with it. You can play with it. Like, fine, you got it. You figured it out. Take the rest of the time. How about this? Let's settle on this, Jimmy.
And I don't know what the answer is. Somebody's saying I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth. But you're right, because I don't know.
Instead of us playing doctor, which everybody hates, and instead of us, the thing that bothers me with the Jalen dialogue online is like people like, obviously he knows his body and the doctors know. Like, shut up. That conversation bores me. Let's settle on this.
Let's play doctor. Actually.
Yeah, let's settle on this. Isn't rest better for being rested?
Exactly. That's what I mean. It's not a finger. It's not a finger.
But like, it's not even like rest is going to make the injury better. Like, okay, let's pretend that isn't the case because we don't know and that they know and what they're doing is okay. Rest is good just because rest is good. Like, fresh legs are good because fresh legs are good. Like, I don't want to see Tatum play more. Like, I don't want to see anything. And they did that last year. Last year was a whole lot of stay ready crew down the stretch. So like, it actually doesn't make sense. Yeah, kid.
Yeah, dude.
Socks kid.
Yeah, you just put one of them, like one of those wraps on it. You just put like a wrap on it, and you can pretty much do whatever. Yeah, he still went to work.
Yeah, but they're meaningless. Last year, I'm gonna go back and look exactly what it was, but they definitely. I mean, they were in cruise control for how long? 2 months. I mean,
they won by they were up pretty comfortably tonight for most of this game.
And
right?
Tatum's still playing with 2 minutes left. It says,
I know it's just like, and you didn't get who is it? Shireman didn't play until the very end. Like, you didn't really get minutes from guys that maybe you could have seen. I get why these guys want to play, but
this might be the last one, Jimmy. I'm not kidding.
I'm thinking it might be.
Like this.
I mean, what are you gonna do on Sunday against
the Wizards? This is gonna be a 5 guys resting game.
Yeah, I would keep an eye on game time. Tickets may plummet. You might be able to get this game for $20.
You got a back-to-back New York, Orlando. Half the team's not playing in one of those games, and then you're closing Charlotte. No one's playing there. So again, if you start, I'll put it this way: I've never been on the Jalen 65 train, but all of a sudden, if you force that into those final 2 Charlotte games and Jalen's out there, that's something weird, Like that then it becomes weird. Last 2 games.
Let me ask you this, John.
Last 2 games last year, the leading scorer was Pritchard in both of them with 31 and 38. Brissett led in rebounds one night with 11. Like, they fully banged it out. Like, they were done. So they should be done here. We're there. We've made it. Like, let's stop here.
I do want to say something. I want to play devil's advocate a little bit here.
Okay.
This is probably I think this is completely against Bobby's take. The NBA put these parameters up for these awards in order to curb or stop, teams sitting players and teams resting guys and, taking games off. They did this because they wanted players to play. And so I think it's kind of hypocritical for us to then say, well, he's only doing it to get to the number. Where we used to criticize players because they weren't playing and because fans paid good money and they go to 1 game a year and they want to go see their favorite players play, and the guys didn't play because they wanted to rest for the playoffs. So now they are playing, and here we are, or here Bobby is, or whoever, saying, oh, he's only playing so we can get to 65 games. Well, you know what? Maybe Jaylen Brown deserves to get to 65 games. If he's good enough to get 3rd team All-NBA, then why shouldn't he keep playing to get to 65 games? Again, I'm not saying play if you're hurt, but he scored 31 points tonight of 10 and 16 from the field. I know he didn't do it maybe the way you want him to do it, but clearly he's healthy enough to play basketball. So if he wants to go out there and get to his 65th game so he can qualify for the awards, I have no problem with that. I feel like the same people would bitch and moan if all these guys sat for half the year and didn't qualify for the awards anyways because they wanted to get rest. So because he didn't get rest earlier this year, he's going to get punished for getting rest now. I don't know. I just feel like these guys can't do anything right. It doesn't matter what they do. You're going to criticize one way or the other. If Jaylen Brown is healthy enough to play and go out there and score 31, I don't really have a big issue with him playing. Do I want to see him play 35, 40 minutes? No, that's stupid. But I don't want to make him sit and not hit his 65 games if that's something that's important to him. You want these guys to be happy. You want them to feel good going into the playoffs. And if that's going to give him a little bit of mojo, winning in the award, if that means something to him, then it can only help the Celtics if he can win that award or make that team going with a little bit more mojo, confidence into the playoffs, whatever, fine by me. I'm not going to fault the guy for going out there and trying to play well so that he can make an NBA team.
Good rant. That was good. That was like your Herb Brooks speech there. You fired up a lot of people in the chat. I'm not going to lie.
Good.
A lot of people in the chat.
All the people that say I'm a hater, clip that. Bailey, clip that. Amit, clip that. And play that every single time people want to call me a hater. Because I'm not hating. I'm just telling it like I see it.
I'll be right here.
Right here.
Clip it.
This. Boom.
So I will say I'm not one of those guys. I'm pro load management. I don't give a crap when players rest. And I've been on the show saying this a lot. So I'm much more in favor of selective rest. I want Tatum to play 68 games a year, not 74.
But they don't have to sit the next 6 games, John. That's stupid.
Judah wasn't paying attention. Say it one more time, Jimmy. Start at the beginning.
Judah, there's a little rewind button. I blacked out. I don't even know what I said.
What happened?
Where am I? What day is it?
That was I get it in theory. I think that's more throughout the year when people don't want to see it. People hate the selective resting through the year without any proven benefit of whether load management is a thing or not. It's those like back-to-back sitting 4 people and just like, I'll just take the L tonight. Those are the things that drive the league crazy. But
they've made him go 65 games here in order to get these awards.
But here's the thing. Jaylen Brown missed those other games. This is where it's stupid. Jaylen Brown missed the games legitimately injured. He wasn't load managed. He missed games with legitimate injuries.
Right.
And that's why he's teetering on the brink of 65. The load management thing is supposed to be to stop people from just literally sitting out 17 games just because they feel like it. Like, if you have been injured some, and I also think they should factor in some rest, particularly for banged up players down the stretch when your seating has been locked in. Again, they're in the same position they were in last year, Jimmy. They're locked in. I don't even care about this current injury. Just start resting people, for the love of God, not just for fresh legs. Like, okay, KP took one here and got stitches. If he takes it here and he blows up his face and he's got it, or in the orbital bone, and I'm saying you're just, it's okay to duck. It's basketball. Things can happen at any time, but it's also okay to duck a punch or two. That's all. It's not the end of the world.
Sure, but you can't put guys you can't put the entire starting lineup in bubble wrap for the next 3 weeks.
Not for the next 3 weeks, but again, the games they play, I would be again playing them for the first half regular rotation and second half all bench. You get out, you get in rhythm.
I'm okay with that.
You prepare the way you normally prepare. I would go exhibition rules. Some games you just sit, and the games you play, you just play first half, and then it's friggin' Maine Celtics the rest of the way. Like, that's what I would do. Just limit it. I don't see any reason to go there, and especially with Brown. But yes, that's how I play it. Like,
you got to be smart. I mean, there has to be a balance, right? If the guys want to play, you let them play, but you let them know, hey, listen, we're gonna let you play, but you've got 20 minutes tonight.
I'm pro load management. I'm fine with it. Yes, I always have been.
Like,
and
did Tatum need to play 34 minutes tonight? Probably not. You know, like, he just probably didn't need to play that many minutes. That's where we can agree on, is these guys can definitely play less minutes down the stretch for sure. I'm fine with them playing though. I don't want. I want them to go into the playoffs having, continuously played basketball together, because there's a lull. There's the play-in game. There's the lull between the regular season and the playoffs. All of a sudden, it's been a week since you guys have played basketball. This team comes out flat at home to begin with, John. I don't want to see them go down in a hole. I'm not worried about the first round.
I know, but the rust versus rest thing, there's no empirical evidence to suggest one is better than the other. You have just as many examples of a team that coasted late or a team that played hard late that performed poorly in the playoffs. So I just don't think anything exists there. To me, it's just simply duck a punch, reduce the risk of like something stupid like a broken face or a rolled ankle, and then just give guys some fresh legs and call it a day. And also sneak in some minutes for guys you may end up having to rely on who haven't been playing that much. Keep those guys fresh and sharp. They need more reps than the starters. Jason Tatum does not need to be playing a lot. But again, nobody cares as long as they make it through unscathed. There's only a few games left here, but yes, I would absolutely dial it back because I think it makes sense to. But whatever. What do we know? We're not doctors. We're going to talk a little bit more about Brown for sure. We're going to hear from Brown and Tatum, I believe, at the podium. We're going to get Bobby and Noah jumping on the show because that's what they do. But we're also going to get a little bit of love from our sponsor, our pals over at Prize Picks, who we love. We love Prize Picks. And again, best place to get real money sports action. 10 million members, billions of dollars in awarded prizes, in awarded winnings, I should say. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. Pick more or less on at least 2 players, shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Great time of year to get in on it. Obviously, you've got college basketball, pro hockey, pro baseball has started up. All of those things are happening at once. And again, you don't have to just stick to one sport. You can cross sports with your athletes as long as, that we said, you pick 2 or more or less on any stats that are available there. Super fun, super easy to use. And you see the offer on the screen, of course. Download that app today. Use code CLNS. Get 50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Once again, download the app today. Use code CLNS. Get 50 instantly in your account after you play your first $5 lineup. What time is it?
Game time. We got baseball.
I'm just kidding. It's run your game all season long. Baseball's great. I said baseball. Right. I said it. I said it.
Right. You did say baseball. I know, but the reason I'm bringing it up is because the Red Sox had their home opener today, John.
They sure did. There's something happening there.
Well, bombs. I know. I'm not going to say I'm there yet because I have a little bit of a rule. I don't really get into baseball in April. It takes me a couple months, to be completely honest. But it's good to see this. There's a little bit of a pulse.
I used to be not just baseball first, like baseball here, and like number 2 was like here. I was so baseball for so long in my life. But I mean, from a kid all the way through, like I was baseball. And then John Henry he got me, kid. He got me.
He I'll say this about John Henry. He did good for a while. He did get you a World Series. But yeah, put it this way, John Henry had us in the first half. But now he needs to go.
Yeah, he's got to go.
But this team's solid right now. That being said, John, they've made a couple of good signings recently, extended a couple of guys. So
Can I tell you the
not
truth?
A lot to complain about.
My quick John Henry minute. Ready? I think John Henry is impossible to argue with his success. They've had 4 World Series. I think John Henry's flip-flopping in terms of what he wants to be and who he wants to be. Don't sign old pitchers. Wait a second. Let's throw a bunch of money at David. He always corrects the last thing that happened. Build the farm system. No, wait. Go get Dave Dombrowski to trade everybody and win a World Series. No, wait, let's do it this way and let's be cheap. Let's bring in Chaim Bloom and operate really cheaply and build it up again. And then Chaim does that. And he's like, goodbye. Like the worst thing that you can do as a general manager is do what John Henry tells you to do. So he's changed his philosophy a ton, but they've won. All that being said, this is where my rant ends. It's been frustrating, and the Mookie stuff I think was unacceptable. But I actually 1,000% agree with not spending a nickel on any of the teams over the last 3 years because they weren't real. You wait until your prospect pool is legit. You either trade them for established stars because your team is close, or you build around them. and then go spend money. There's no reason with the teams that they had, without any prospects in the pipeline coming up and playing well for them, to have spent money any of the last 2 or 3 years.
Because we don't care if they spend money. It's
because it doesn't matter.
Because
it doesn't matter. Save it for when it really matters.
It's not our money. Who the hell cares?
Because you're going to be a 500.
Look at the Dodgers.
I'm saying I would only be doing it when I'm ready to go. Like, not every year, just buy the most expensive player because you can.
Torpedoed the freaking team, the whole organization, and then use that as an excuse to not spend. Wow, yeah. Brilliant.
Anyway, that's my take on it. Is I actually don't disagree with that.
But you're missing the whole point that he did it to himself.
Jimmy, I don't miss points. I just make different ones.
You missed the point.
I didn't miss it. I just made a different point. Anyway, we're done. We're done with the Red Sox. We're done. So
Henry,
here's my new concern, because we'll put Jalen aside for now, even though, again, we're gonna have to live with it. Hold on one second.
Bars.
What's that?
Somebody wrote bars.
Here's my just listen. I'll tell you. Here's my new thing. I'm moving off of Brown, even though I'm still dubious and I'm still concerned, and I still think it's the one thing that could potentially tank the playoffs if that thing lingers and nags and he's feeling pain and this and that. So we'll see. But we'll put it to rest today because we feel good about Jalen's game today. Actually, my one last Jalen thought. Can I talk myself into this? Maybe. What's the biggest knock we have on Jalen in general? Like full speed Jalen or like fully healthy Jalen?
Consistency on defense?
Yeah, for sure. That's one. For me, it's also just a little too out of control, right?
Yeah, well, that's why somebody said when he slows it down. I'm like, what?
So some people had been saying this. I could talk myself into this because I thought where Jalen, a couple things that I liked tonight was him working in the post. And then Bobby was quick to point out that he's been their second most effective point per possession post player outside of Porzingis on the team. And I was like, okay, this can work. Getting Jalen somewhere where he can go to work there and use more of his muscle, like his frame and his physicality, just backing people down versus just the explosive stuff right now, which doesn't appear to be there. And again, he had one good move on a hesitation where he crossed, I forget the defender over and got to the rim and made a nice little finger roll. But most of the other stuff was playing through contact. So he wasn't flying by people like Jaylen Brown is wont to do, but he did use his like physicality to be able to get, stuff around the basket and a nice post up there. And is it possible? Is it possible that slowing him down and having him play more deliberately because he has to play more deliberately is a positive thing? I don't know, but I'm willing to think.
Wow, that is a spin.
I'm entertaining it as a possibility. I need Jay King in his backwards hat to sit though, because I think he's in our shot. Okay. Nope, still there.
Yeah, but that's okay because it hasn't started yet.
Yeah, but I can't see it.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. I can't see it. So
you won't be there though.
So that's it. That's my take. I'll leave it open there. I don't know what the chat thinks there. Some people had tweeted that.
So real quick, your take is that
it's not a take. I'm throwing it out there because if he realizes,
I just said that's my take.
I'm saying I'm willing to entertain the possibility that could be an unintended benefit of the injury here. Like maybe that happens because look, I think his handle has been really all over the place in the second half of the year, like, regression sort of thing. And I don't know if he's trying to speed himself up because he doesn't feel like he's got the natural foot speed to just literally put his head down and go. And he's trying to get fancy with it and it just hasn't been working. So maybe now he's like, I'm going to do less of that and more of the other stuff that's a little bit more under control. And maybe that is a benefit. Maybe that helps. Maybe he's not trying to do too much. Maybe he stops thinking like, okay, my turn, give me the ball. I'm going to do my thing. Maybe. So like I said, I'm willing to talk about it.
I don't hate the take, or I don't hate the idea, I'll call it, that it's forcing him to play differently, right? Maybe he can't rely on his athleticism, or maybe he can't let his athleticism get ahead of his thinking because he has to slow it down. I mean, that's one way to go about it. If it's me, I want to see Jaylen Brown just be the aggressive, physical. Yeah, sometimes it hurts you, but they need a guy like that. They need the physicality and the athleticism. They're not a very athletic and physical team. So that's kind of Jaylen Brown's strength. I love when he gets aggressive, when he drives to the hoop, when he plays hard that way. So I'm really hopeful that whatever he's dealing with is not something that can get worse or will get worse. I don't want to beat a dead horse here and just talk about.
I agree here, DJ. I'd feel better if the shot was good, but he's shooting 30% from 3 since the All-Star break, and 31 on the season. So 30% from 3 is pretty normal. It's all not good.
Right.
Yeah. Tatum's coming up.
Relies on the athleticism.
Tatum's coming up on the podium here. Yeah, I mean, that's been bad. The 3 not being there all year is another weird thing that he's had to play around as well. So he has to be much more selective with what style of game he's playing here. We got Jason Tatum coming up to the podium here. We will listen in. Nope, it's Jaylen. Jaylen, listen in what Jaylen has to say.
Jaylen, you're obviously, we've been talking about a lot, dealing with figuring out how to play through the knee soreness. Knowing that you're not whatever percentage below 100% you are, what are you learning about yourself, your game, how you're adjusting as you're going through this?
It's like you said, just learning to make adjustments. I probably relied on my athleticism a lot, this season, but using more of my skill, playing a little bit slower, which can sometimes be a good thing. So it's all about just figuring that out, and I've been using these games to kind of figure it out, and just take it one day at a time.
Are you studying anybody, any other players?
Nailed it.
Are you breaking down some film to think like how do you go about adjusting your game like that?
It's funny because he was at the game today. Before the game, I was watching some Paul Pierce footage, just getting to your spots, playing at a certain pace. And today I felt like
win for Jimmy.
Two of John's favorite players, Jaylen Brown,
I was still able to be effective. So I think that's good. But as we continue to move forward, I'm, hoping to feel better and better. But, there's no guarantee rest or anything like that is going to make it, this thing better. So, kind of figuring it out and going through it and getting ready for the playoffs.
Did you talk to Paul? Have you asked him for advice?
I mean, I've talked to Paul a bunch of times over the years.
But specifically about this?
Tonight? No, I didn't. I didn't talk to him about this, but it's good to see him at the game always. Him and Big Poppy, Boston legends. So that was great.
You've talked before about how physically demanding your role is, especially in the playoffs too. You're picking guys up full court, guarding the best players, stuff like that. How much of all of that do you expect to be able to handle with the way your knee is, and how is that driving you over the last 5 games of the regular season and beyond?
I mean, we'll see. I'm still learning, and I'm still hoping that, and we got some stuff that we're looking to do to make myself feel a lot better going into the playoffs. I'm still learning. So every day I'm just taking it one day at a time. Obviously, I haven't felt my best over the last couple of days, the last couple of weeks. But you kind of just got to, roll with the punches, I guess. It is what it is. It sucks. I wish I could share more details, but, whatever my team needs, whatever
what does that mean?
I can do, whatever I got, I'm going to give. So I'm looking forward to, just taking it one day at a time. And I'm hopeful that some things will improve over the course of this next 2 weeks or so.
Jaylen, even outside the knee injury, it feels like you've been a lot more meticulous at attacking mismatches and sort of trying to slow down the game this year. What about your progression as a player do you think has allowed you to be more comfortable in those spots as you started to slow the game down a bit and pick your spots like that?
Just experience. My role, has changed a lot over the years. I feel like this year, making plays for others. I don't think we needed me to score the ball this year. Obviously scoring is something that I do, and that's probably my best quality. But, I really try to emphasize making plays for others on my team all season long, and I think that's what our team has needed. They didn't need another guy that just comes down and just tries to score every time he touches it. So I've made that emphasis this year, and it's been, you know, somewhat of a sacrifice to some degree. You can look at it like that or whatever, and, you know, people may have their own, you know, opinions about that. But, you know, I've definitely made an emphasis to get guys going, Peyton, you know, Porzingis, D. White, Luke, you know, and that's just different from any role I've had in the Celtics uniform. But you know, I wore it with a badge of honor. I feel like I've improved a lot in that area, so I've made myself a better basketball player. And I feel like, you know, we've had some great years by a lot of our guys that have been around. So, you know, looking forward to continuing to empower guys in the playoffs, and it's all about team. You know, it's not all about me. I can come down and get numbers if I wanted to. But, you know, people got to say what they got to say regardless. But I've been a team basketball player all season long.
Sorry for all the knee-related questions, but just I think, you know, people are not used to seeing people play in pain in the NBA, I think, in a sense. And so maybe that's kind of part of why people have that reaction. And I'm wondering from you, or at least visibly in pain, obviously everybody's in pain, but I'm wondering, is there a level of pride that you've been able to still be effective and found a way to like get your spots, put up big numbers, have efficient performances? Because if you look through your box score, like you've had a lot of efficient performances with this injury. Is that something that you have been kind of trying to see if you can do mentally too and achieve that?
Two parts. Great question. One, you normally see people
Noah always gets the
complain
great
about
questions.
when people are choosing not to play. I've never
This comment.
You know, been experienced it the other way around, you know, where I'm playing and people are encouraging me not to. But, you know, yes, I think, you know, pain is definitely a physical thing, but it also is a mental thing. So, you know, Joe has allowed me, even though, like, you know, my team or visibly can see maybe I'm in a bit of pain, that they trust me to go out there and I can control my body and still be able to make plays and mentally be able to kind of, you know, push through it. I think that's going to be something I'm going to have in my back pocket. So I've been just utilizing these games in order to, you know, to fill things out. And, you know, things will get better, I'm sure. But if they don't, then, you know, I still have a good feel of kind of where my baseline is at and stuff like that. Because there's no guarantee that, you know, honestly, that rest is going to make anything better. I wish it would, but it's kind of the cards that are laid out.
That kind of answers my question.
Jalen, tonight the second unit contributed nearly 40 points. How nice was it to have the entire rotation available for the first time since late February?
Great. You know, anytime we're healthy and be able to be on the floor all together is a strength of ours. So I thought it was a great team win. A lot of guys, you know, play well. I thought Luke was great tonight. D.Y., I thought D.Y. was good. He made plays, rebounds. He flirted with a triple-double. JT, of course. KP was playing well. Like, you know, so just keep continuing to build that camaraderie, clicking on all cylinders. And then, you know, just rolling. I think we're playing some great basketball right now, and it's the time of year you want to be. So, you know, we want to prioritize health. It's not going to be perfect, but as a team, if we, you know, work together and we keep emphasizing team, that I think we have enough. You know, we got plenty. So that's the goal, is just, you know, buy into the team, buy into the game plan, buy into the strategy, and rely on each other. You know, so that's what I'm focused on.
Jalen, the injury is one thing, but you're also dealing with a minutes limit, which you're not used to.
That's another thing, yeah.
Yeah. What's that conversation like with Joe when you want to play or you're getting taken out and you're kind of looking at him like, come on, man, like, what's that like?
It's just constant communication, and Joe is giving me, I appreciate Joe because he's giving me grace, even though, you know, like he's letting me feel through it. He kind of understands where it's at, and he's letting me, you know, play through some stuff. Even last game, I took some like ill-advised shots last game, and that was just a part of me like trying to figure out like where I can go. And you know what I mean? Like, I still want him to hold me to that same standard, but I appreciate Joe for the communication and stuff like that. And it's good to have that now rather than trying to figure it out once, you know, everything is on the line. So I think it's important to kind of build that. And I think that's what we have, that communication. So, you know, if things are, you know, whatever, then we got some information to pull from during these games.
Do you know how long that minutes limit might last here going forward?
I do not. I don't know. But whatever it is, I'm willing to adjust, and whatever it is to help the team. And I bank on being, by the playoffs. We got some stuff lined up. I bank on being even better than I feel now. So we'll see as time goes. But whatever it calls, I'm open to.
And what have you learned through this process? You said you've learned a lot. I think you said it was your first knee injury too, significant. The balance between rest and playing through it and all that.
What have I learned? I learned that I have a lot of skill. My skill level is high. As you've seen tonight, like no dunks, no transition points, like what I'm used to doing. I was probably leading the league in transition points over, this season, or top 5 at least. I didn't think I had probably no transition points tonight, and I could still affect the scoring game in multiple ways. And I haven't always displayed that, and this year I haven't displayed it as much because, I'm athletic. I get to the paint, I draw 2, make the defense collapse, and we got shooters all around. But, I can hit shots, I can shoot the ball, I can get to my spots, I can score different ways, and stuff like that. So just emphasizing that. And I think that could be like a good thing, like reminding myself that, like, not only are you athletic, but you got, a high skill level as well. So utilize that.
That's Jaylen Brown there, finishing up what I thought was honestly an really excellent press conference, just in terms of things that we want to know, and just going through some of the highlights of this. And I think this answers pretty much all of our questions. Like, Jimmy, you are muted, my friend.
Damn.
God, jeez. This
1-1. It's 1-1. We both got it muted.
Tie game.
I was gonna say this, what I was saying real quick, and you can go on, but it feels like they just answered. It feels like they watched our show and then did the press conference.
Every question there, and that was amazing. So that was an awesome press conference, and so many little nuggets there. Again, some of the stuff he'd hit on last game, which was that the reality is this is what it is, and we're going to you have to just learn to live with it. Chances are he's hoping it gets better, but he doesn't know if it will, was another thing that he said. He recognizes that he's sapped a little bit of his athleticism, and he has to play different. Pointed out at the end there, following the question by Bobby Manning, that he wasn't running in transition. He's not out there dunking on people. His one time where he did get by somebody and got into the lane, he settled for, not settled, it's fine. He's, a nice little finger roll there. So some of the high flying stuff, some of the fast stuff, some of the athletic stuff is not there. And he knows it. And we know it because we can see it, but it's nice when I hate the nothing to see here stuff sometimes you get from fans that want to wish things away. I think that this is exactly what we're seeing, and he kind of answered it. It might be this way, but I got to figure out if I can find other ways to impact winning. And tonight he did. How much of that has to do with a Phoenix Suns team that doesn't want to be here anymore and doesn't play a lick of defense? Hard to say. How's this going to be when you're playing tougher, more athletic teams where even doing the stuff that he did tonight is going to be really challenging? I don't know. But it goes back to the thing I was talking about before, is a slowed down Jaylen Brown and one who's not forcing the issue and just looking to get his because he knows he can get it. Could it potentially be something that works to the Celtics' favor? Maybe. So it's interesting. I just think there's a lot of stuff there, but I don't think I have a single question left unanswered. I am a little bit curious, Jimmy. He's not sure if rest will help it. Right. That's what I'm not clear on. Like, I feel like someone should be able to tell you pretty clearly. Like, I think if you went to the doctor with something and they would say, it's best to stay off this for a couple of weeks and then start something light and then get back into it. I feel like that's pretty basic. It's weird to not have clear direction on whether rest is beneficial or not here. But I've always been leaning this entire time through that feeling, which is, yeah, he'll feel good for the week that he's resting, but the first game that he plays, he's going to feel exactly the way he felt when he stopped playing a week before. There's not enough time to rest this thing away. That's my take on it. And I think that's kind of what he's saying here.
Yeah, and I would agree. I think one of the concerns is if like any injury, if you favor the opposite side, are you going to potentially injure yourself because you're trying to protect what's already been hurt or what you're already feeling is pain? So maybe that's part of him playing right now, is to learn to play with the discomfort or the pain that he's got, so he doesn't have to favor the opposite side and then potentially hurt himself that way. We don't know. I liked that he said what I said, which is like, typically fans get upset when you don't play, but now fans are getting upset when I do play. Mentioned that earlier. And yeah, it seems pretty clear that this is like the status. This is what's going to happen. This is just it. He's going to feel some discomfort. He did say he hopes in the next couple of weeks it gets better.
Maybe, right. So I don't know how that happens, but
right. I don't either.
It is interesting, but I guess, to what we've been saying the whole time is, I guess this is where Jaylen Brown, like the last thing that he said that Bobby had asked him, and he responded, and some people might be like, well, that was kind of, an egotistical response, saying, well, I learned that I have a lot of, what did you learn about yourself? Bobby asked. He said, I learned that I have a lot of skill.
Yeah.
I like that. That doesn't bug me at all. I'm just saying, that I'm a good player. I can do more than that. I guess that's the prove it thing here, right? To people like me or others that think his game is mainly based on his athleticism and his raw ability to just kind of exert his will on people and to play fast and to play strong. Yeah, I think that's the best part of his game. I don't think all of the other stuff is that well refined. I think his passing has gotten better, but he's still not an elite playmaker or a passer. His shot has been flat all year, not good at all. And so that's been an issue, where it's not like, all right, I'm just going to sit back here and just knock down threes and sit in the corner. I'll be good. He can't really do that because he hasn't been doing that. And, again, he's not, his handle is inconsistent. You want him out running in transition. You want him cooking mismatches by just taking them off the dribble and going to the basket. Without that, I don't know what he is. I'm curious to see it. Tonight was a good version of that. If he can keep doing that and finding ways to, if not reinvent himself, but to, impact winning in ways beyond what we normally see him doing, then I'll tip my hat and be like, you did it, Jaylen. I'm still a little dubious. So I guess that's what we're going to see. Not just now, but as the opponents get tougher and they advance and they go deeper in the playoffs, and the intensity is up and the defenses are ferocious. What can he do to impact winning on a regular, consistent basis if he's limited there? I don't know yet. So we'll see. We'll see. Again, that middy's falling, and that's fine. If he can still get to a spot, rise up as best he can and get that shot off, and it's going well, we can live with that.
Yeah, we can. I think we've talked so much about Jaylen in this show. Nobody can ever say that we don't talk about Jaylen.
It's the only thing going on.
I know. I agree.
I have another thing. But yeah, I'll wait till Bobby and Noah get settled.
Bobby and Noah look like they're getting set up.
And,
we'll get a little.
I got a thumbs up from Bobby.
Porzingis talk, maybe. You mentioned it
No,
earlier.
I got something else.
We got a thumbs up.
I got many thumbs up.
Whoa.
I was getting so much anxiety. Oh, sorry.
What?
You getting anxiety? No,
it was just
your anxiety.
I thought you were ready to go.
It was just that
you gave the thumbs up.
I know, and then I got distracted. I'm sorry.
No,
okay.
It's okay. Well,
it was Amit's fault.
Damn it, Amit.
Damn it, Amit.
Damn it, Amit.
I will tell people before we get going here, and I'm being told damn it, Amit is starting to run away with it.
Wow.
If you have not yet voted in the Garden Report poll, please do. Blame Pie versus Damn It Amit going on right now. It's a 4 versus 3 matchup in the Garden Report Isms bracket. It's a Final Four matchup, and right now, as I'm being told, Blame Pie is getting beat up here. We'll see what happens. Good.
Mm-hmm.
Noah is not a fan of Blame Pie.
I like how the results have been shaken out in recent days here.
Yeah.
There's some justice these past few days.
Okay. There's justice. Anyway, you all sat in on it. You both asked Jaylen Brown questions. I thought that was one of the best press conferences of the year, but certainly in terms of every single question anyone wanted answered about Jaylen Brown, I think we're out. I think he did it. I think we're out of questions and we're out of guessing in terms of what's going on with Jaylen Brown right now. We just kind of recapped it all. He's limited. He knows he's limited. He knows he has to play differently. He still thinks that he's able to impact winning and impact the game in a lot of different ways. He's not certain whether rest is going to make him any better than playing through the game. So he's playing through it, trying to figure out ways to deal with what's obviously an injury significant enough that he's constantly cognizant of it. And it is impacting, the way he plays basketball, the way he's accustomed to playing basketball. That's it. And a lot of that we surmised ourselves, just kind of, reading the tea leaves or some of the other comments that he's been making over the last week or so, but he laid it all out. I don't think there's anything left to discuss here. So I guess we'll ask again. And again, Noah, I know you mentioned it the last Phoenix game when we were trying to decide, was he moving better or did he just figure out ways to be effective while not moving as well? Was this another case of that? I mean, he himself is saying, he put it up there. I didn't have dunks. I didn't have transition buckets. Most of his stuff he did in ISO. Most of his stuff was just using his physicality, getting to a spot, rising up, or, bullying his way to the rim. He worked a little bit in the post as well. But is this sustainable, what he did tonight?
So I think, first of all, he has, I was kind of looking through the game logs and he's found a way to be effective offensively through this stretch. Maybe lower usage, maybe, obviously playing fewer minutes. Tonight, obviously, it all kind of came together for a really strong offensive performance. And it all makes sense why he's playing through this if this is the reality where he doesn't know about the rest and he wants to make sure that he can still kind of get to a spot and be that offensive weapon. I think if I have concerns around what's scalable, it's on the defensive end, because so much of his value to this team is what he's able to do locking down an opposing star. And that's what I'm wondering. I mean, it's different than dunking or going in transition, but you need your knees for that. So I think if I have a concern leaving tonight, it's more on the defensive end. I've actually liked his style of play here offensively. I think that him slowing things down, getting to his spots, there has been a little bit of value to some of the adjustments that he's making, as far as just sometimes, when he's so athletic and he's so fast and running around, and that's kind of been the critique on him, right? Thinking about him as a rookie, that it's almost a lot of control, and he's been almost more in control offensively throughout the stretch, and sometimes almost too quiet where you're like, is he okay? Why is he playing? But I don't dislike the offensive changes. And if you look through his game logs again, he's been shooting 57% since he returned from that 10-game absence. He's been more effective at this stretch from an offensive efficiency standpoint than at any other stretch during the season.
Yeah.
So real quick, Bobby, before you jump in, because I know Noah sometimes not being here on the early part of the show just assumes she and I disagree about everything. That's exactly what I had said earlier to Jimmy, which is this might be an unintended benefit of this, where you're not going to have loose handles Jaylen trying to go fast, trying to force the issue because he knows that he can at times where it's not necessarily what the game needs, where he recognizes, I got to play smart, I got to play within myself, and the slowing down ends up being something that helps them. So Bobby, I don't know if you kind of agree with that, because I was curious if people think that might be a good thing.
Yeah, and you do wish you had the full Jaylen, obviously, because you want all the stuff that he might not be able to offer there. And we were tossing around some of the stats too, John. Them falling to last in transition over the last month, that definitely stemmed from losing Jaylen in that category. And you see 2 possessions a game, maybe 3, missing from what he was doing last year in that department. And he's basically their only transition player consistently. And so that is tough that you're not going to have that if this does continue into the playoffs. But the ability for him to play well through it just reached another level tonight. And he did it against Phoenix last time. Even like Noah mentioned, some of the games where he didn't play as well were more of a matter of him shooting 8-9 times rather than the normal amount he would. And he still, shot 6 for 9 or 4 for 8 or whatever it might have been in those games. So I think I'm pretty much where I was before. You're going to see some nights where he looks great. You're going to see some nights where he looks limited. I never saw him look super hobbled in this game. And maybe that is, to your point, him adjusting his style and playing in a way that's more sustainable here. And that's pretty remarkable if that is the case. And there were some really cool moments in this game from him, the heave, the over-the-shoulder pass, and he pretty much paced them. And for a guy who's looked so limited in certain spots here to do that, even against a team this awful, and we gotta factor that in here. It was really impressive stuff, and you mentioned the press conference too, John. Pretty impressive there too.
And I'll just add anecdotally, he was really limping out of the last press conference. You could tell he was in a lot of pain. He looked better today. He walked completely
He might just
normal.
want to stop dunking.
Yeah, he walked.
Every time he dunks,
He walked completely normally out of this one, as far as just like what we can see. I thought he had moments where he looked to be in pain today on this, stretching a little bit, doing that stuff. But I almost feel like as viewers, we need to stop trying to figure out if he's in pain. The answer is yes, he's in pain, and more just start evaluating whether or not he's being effective, because so much of these past few weeks has been like, oh my God, like he looks like he's wincing, he's landing, he's hovering over, like, and it's almost like, let's toss it and just see like, okay, how is he actually playing? Because that's going to continue, I think. And so I want to see him like guarding Devin Booker, like, can he do that? I don't know.
So let's get to the one part I disagree with, that rest isn't going to help.
Like, how do you know though? You don't know, like.
It can't hurt. It can't.
I would agree with that. We don't know if it'll help, but there's no way it can hurt. Like, that's
mentally
the whole
it
thing.
could hurt though, because he just scored.
But what if he
points.
bangs knees with someone again, and all of a sudden it's in a worse place for him being like, that's where it can't hurt, because if he's not in the game, he can't do that.
It also can't hurt from the overcompensation. If he's currently experiencing enough pain where it's constantly there and he starts favoring it and doing other things I'm always a little bit nervous there. But to me, I just view it as trying to duck a few punches here, not necessarily medically speaking. What do we know whether or not there's going to be an actual medical benefit? I more mean like, couldn't we all benefit from some rest at this point? Like, it's been a long year. Like, just take some time. You saw how they wound down last year. It was all stay ready crew the last couple of games here. Like,
that's what's going to be interesting to see this week.
you've got back-to-backs with New York and Orlando. You have to imagine all the starters are going to sit one of these two games. I felt tonight they didn't play any of the deep bench guys because they're going to play nobody against Washington on Sunday. That's what it felt like, because you didn't get Torrey Craig minutes, you didn't get Shireman minutes, anywhere earlier in the game like you've been getting. You had the full lineup in here. I have to imagine a whole bunch of people are going to sit there. It just makes sense. The back-to-backs on the road, the Tuesday, Wednesday, New York and Orlando, and then Charlotte, like, none of those games need anybody in them. Like, right. It wasn't a matter of injuries last year. None of the starters played the last two games. Like, you were at the point now where I would say missing 3 out of the next 5 is sensible for Brown. Or if they do play any of these games or any of the starters, it should be exhibition style where they just play the first half just to get into the rhythm of going out there and not being ice cold, get 15, 16 minutes in and then call it a day. That's how I would manage it if everybody was 100% healthy. You're dealing with people that are dealing with injuries. I can't see not taking advantage of having your seed having been locked in for so long. It just makes sense to take advantage of this opportunity.
Yeah, and it stinks because we've disagreed on it, and we're going to see where it goes this week. But what is there, 4 left now? And he needs 3.
There's 5 games left.
5, and he needs 4 for the All-NBA.
Yeah.
I don't begrudge him if he wants it, and obviously he said he isn't factoring that in here. Yeah. It's so tough because obviously, like you said, John, the most sensible thing to do would be rest the majority of those games.
I don't know how we know that though. Like, not every.
I'm not saying I know anything. I'm just saying it's.
But
tough
the most sensible thing
so
is resting. Like, it might not be the most sensible thing. Like, again, he's finding a way to be effective right now, and he might not have found that way if he just rested for the last 3 weeks of the season, goes into the playoffs, realizes that like he doesn't have his burst, he doesn't have his explosion. Now he's facing playoff.
But he's got it now.
He's got it now.
Like, that's what I mean. It's like, we got it. He got it. He's had 2 effective games over the last 3 or 4. Like, since he's returned from an injury, I think he's kind of found a way to do the things that he's going to do. That's more like it. Is like, I agreed to a point, but at this point, I think you just want to clear the deck a little bit. But I agree. No, if he just didn't play until the playoffs, and then he went out there and he's hurting and trying to reinvent his game and not sure how he's going to play, I think that would be very difficult to do. So he did have to play some, and everyone's screaming like, what is he in for tonight? I think you're right. I think he's searching. I think as soon as he knows he's got it, like, okay, I feel okay right now, he should, pull like, I'm good, Joe. I got it now.
No, and I do like your point about the load management thing, like that usually guys get ripped for that, and now he's getting ripped for playing. I'm not gonna rip him.
I'm not
for
even
playing
saying
down the
ripped. I
stretch.
just like what I was trying to articulate to him, and I kind of like stumbled over my words. But I think like there's been such a hysteria around his knee, and it's literally because we can tell he's in pain. Like that's why it is. It's not because we know that the knee injury is so bad, or it's like it's not that he's been playing so bad. It's because his pain is so visible. And it's like, when is the last time you've seen an NBA player be in visible pain like this? Like I can't remember ever. They never look like they're in pain, except for in the locker room afterwards. But like during the game, they always look fine.
KP looked banged up tonight.
Yeah, right. But I think that's part of like where this is coming from. We're not like trained as a society to like watch NBA players play.
I think it's more that he's just crucial, and people are really scared that he's not going to be in position to help them in the playoffs if he's limited. And that was interesting too. Out of this one is the minutes limit, and obviously him having pretty high confidence that they're going to be able to make him feel better and be in a better position for the playoffs. I don't know if that's alluding to some sort of treatment he's going to get or whatever that might be, but I think we're getting to a place at the very least where we know he's going to be able to work through it, whatever it is. You would hate to see him aggravate it over the final stretch here, but if he
I don't
does
even know
want
if
to
that's
go,
possible though. That's the thing. It's like they keep saying like there's no way they put him out there if re-aggravation is an issue. This isn't like a soft tissue injury. Like
I mean more like bumping knees or something, John. Where the pain would get worse.
I think at this point it is what it is. It's just going to feel the way it's going to feel. I mean, the way they're talking about it now and what little we know about it, or what the Twitter doctors have told us about what bone bruises are and how they feel and what they do. Yeah, I don't think there's risk of re-aggravation.
And I'll stress this too. I don't mind if he wants to go get the All-NBA because he's handling it
fine. Here we go.
He's handling it
pull
fine.
up the text?
All I said in the text is that I feel like he's going for it, and I still do. And I don't mind it because he's playing well. He's shown he can play through it.
I said it on Twitter before, Bobby. I'm so not interested in whether he should or shouldn't be playing. I'm more concerned with whether or not he's going to be good when he does play. I
think at this point we're
I
seeing
find
that
this
he can be good.
Yeah.
All things being equal, I just want to rest everybody just to avoid anything freakish happening. Give them their rest and just get them ready for the playoffs. How many times, if I don't understand people, I don't understand. This is what bugs me. Like, what is the whole I trust the medical staff to play an injured player coming from the same people that are saying put KP in bubble wrap until the finals? Like, let's figure it out, guys. What do we want to do? Protect the people you're worried about who matter and who are going to bring you a championship or not? Like, what do you want? Like, it's so strange to me. Like, right. I mean, people have been saying that, just put him in bubble wrap, put him in bubble wrap.
I said that earlier.
You got a guy out there literally saying like, I'm in an extreme amount of pain, and everyone's like, I trust that what they're doing is okay. Like, I mean, it's just. I'm tired.
I thought this is going against your point. I feel
I'm just tired of both sides of the conversation.
Okay.
The trust,
well, can I just add another
trust
side to
the
this?
medical staff people and the people who think they know what's best for him medically. Like, enough.
Let me ask this.
No
real
more.
Quick. Is he? Because I'm blanking, but is he wearing anything over the knee right now? Anything at all? It's just whatever. There's no sleeve. There's nothing.
No, I don't think so. No.
Yeah, so there's nothing that's even.
The other thing I'll just add though is that this starting group,
and I said this
very
tonight
little
too, yes.
together. That's what I'm saying right now.
Yeah. No. I was saying also just avoid the freak stuff. I said injury aside, I'm pro rest. Period. I'm a pro.
You look like a pro rest guy.
I'm exhausted.
I think this is one of my takes where I'm realizing I might need to like align with like the consensus here a little bit more, because I'm not really that pro rest, and for a couple of reasons. I think a lot of times the rest you kind of go back into a playoff environment beyond like 2 games, which they always rest the last 2 games, right? Like I think about Porzingis last year in the playoffs, right? They did everything they could all year to keep him healthy for the postseason. Every time he had a little knick-knack, it's like, oh, wrap him up. He's out for 3 weeks. He was like, I'm good to go, but they're being really conservative with me because it's the regular season. Then he comes in, plays 2 games in the playoffs, gets hurt, misses the entire playoff run, which they were definitely conservative with as far as they could have probably bought him back a little bit earlier, plays 1.5 games and gets hurt again and almost misses the whole finals until game 5, right? So in that case, like, was the rest group, like chanting, like, maybe
it goes both ways, Noah. There's no empirical.
Though. We have no idea if the stuff works. And the NBA said load management doesn't work. I don't know if that's true, but I just think I don't know. I never got the bubble wrap thing because the bubble wrap has already shown us that we
exploding around it.
Yeah, that like
you do it and you do everything right, and it still doesn't necessarily work.
Over here, Bobby.
Guys, over right here. Focus.
What are you looking at?
Some things want to do. Some things
We're
almost
live.
went by with our
No,
feedback.
look, Noah, there's no,
Yeah, we
you're right.
have like a whole.
Noah, you're right. There's no evidence either way. There's no empirical evidence to suggest
I think
rest
you go with your gut. You go
or
with what
playing works.
people on the
There's
team
just
and
as
everybody
many
feels like
times. Yeah, there's just as many times in any sport in all his. You hear this all the time, and it's a talking head take. You know, like you see it in baseball, you see it in all sports. A team is cruising, they rest their starters, they get to the postseason, they get beat up early, and everyone's like, it was a mistake to rest them. And then another team plays plays their starters deep, and everyone's like, and then they get beat in the first couple of games. Everyone's like, they should have eased up. So like, it's such an easy.
But they haven't played a lot together, and they're as everybody knows now. I think their starting five still doesn't have a great net rating, and they've played like 23 games all season with that whole top six. And so I could see some value if everybody's like, we want to get 3 or 4 games here. And again, the last 2 games they're going to rest, but like there's 5 left.
That's what they did tonight, I think.
Yeah. And I think they're going to do a few more of these. I think this is not the last one. I think there's going to be probably a few more.
One of the 2 on the road, I think for sure. I think that might be it for the full go. That's the way I view it. I think Sunday's going to be they're going to 3 of these guys sit, you know, and then the back-to-backs, you're going to go 50-50, you know, with both nights. And then those 2 Charlotte games, I don't know if you see anybody play, but we'll see what happens. We've been on Jalen for a while. One of the things we want to talk about that, again, could be a potential issue because it's been a bit of an issue that we're kind of ignoring because everything else has been going so well, particularly with Jason Tatum. And we talked about him playing the best all-around basketball of his life over the last month or so. But at the same time, we also have the three-point shot completely falling off a cliff again. And he's shooting 30.2% from the three-point line since the All-Star break right now, with another cold night right now. And this, for anybody who watched last year's playoffs, which is everybody, is probably giving people a little bit of PTSD. Seeing him shooting this way again, both he and Jaylen Brown are about 30% flat since the All-Star break from the three-point line, which is not great there because, again, it's tougher sailing in the playoffs. Getting by people is going to be more challenging. The defenses, they're going to be on it. If Brown is limited, Tatum's going to get even extra attention. And those shots have to be able to fall, particularly the open ones. And also, you just can't be forcing heat check threes just to see whether or not you've got it tonight. But we're back into a weird spot with Tatum where no matter what, he's going to finish with some of his worst shooting splits of his career this year in what's been a year where it looks like his game has taken a leap. But this whole Drew Hanlon going to the lab, shot reconstruction, shot is fixed, everyone was wrong, didn't end up working. The shot is not better. You could even argue it's been worse this year than it's been at any point in his career. How concerned are you right now that he's kind of hit this cool patch heading into the postseason after the type of postseason he had last year?
I'm not enormously concerned because I think up to, let's say, early March, he was right up there with his most efficient seasons. And I was actually looking today or yesterday.
Because everything has been great.
Yeah, and I was just shocked looking today and yesterday at how far it has dropped over the last month. Then obviously I pulled up the numbers. It's like 30% since the start of March from 3. And I still go back to the shot selection, John, more than the form or whatever that might be. It just feels like he's taking more threes just to take threes. Feels like there's more settling. Through the 1 of 5 start in this game, I didn't love the threes he took at all. And then, he'll get into the mid-range area. And I think he started like 6 or 7 in this one from 2. And then around the basket, he's effective. So it's just that argument that we've been having forever because you'll see the peaks in the 3, but there really do seem to be more dips a lot of the time with him. I get why he takes a ton of threes, and it seems to go up every single year, the amount he takes, because it draws up the defense and frees other guys up and this and that. And you see it in the way he's playmaking this year, certainly. But you can count it every game, 2, 3, 4 shots where you're just like, you didn't need to take that. And it feels like that's gone up a little bit over the last month. And is that because these games have meant a little less? Is that because there's a fatigue factor here? I definitely thought he looked a little tired in this one. I can't wrap my head around it fully yet because I feel like this just hit me the last couple of days, just how far he's dipped. But he does have the worst 3-point percentage of his career right now this year. His effective field goal, I think, is down to like 5th in his career. He's dipped off a ton over this last month. So if people want to be concerned about it, I can't begrudge them, but I'm not there yet.
I'll just say I've been checking these numbers all year. He's actually been near the bottom of his career from 3-point shooting almost the entire season, besides for like the first few games where he was really hot. And Jalen has been at his worst shooting across almost everywhere the entire season. Yeah. And yet I still feel like the two of them showed that they were improved a lot as players in a lot of ways besides for the 3-point shooting. My thing remains with going into the postseason is that you can have like 2 guys in your top 6 in a slump and you'll be okay, but you can't have 5 out of the 6. And so everybody else is kind of hitting their stride right now. Drew's shooting the best that he's shot all season since the All-Star break. Al's shooting well. Sam's shooting well. Pritchard's shooting well. So my thinking is, if everybody else is fine and Tatum and Brown are struggling from 3, they'll be okay. But now your margin of error is a little bit slimmer. And it doesn't mean that what's holding right now is going to hold through the postseason. But I've always had this mindset through, like, it's going to go – they need a few people.
That was the case last year, too. Brown and Tatum, percentage-wise, among the players who played the most, and that's of your first 8, they had the 2 lowest percentages even last year. And that's because you had so many people who shot, at or around career highs, where you had Holiday, White, Hauser, and Horford all shooting 40+ last year. But yes, since the All-Star break, you have leveled off. You have gotten a lot of people coming back to kind of where you want to see them. Porzingis since the All-Star break, 40%. Derek White, almost 39. Peyton Pritchard, 41. Holiday, 38. Horford, 38. Hauser, 44%. Even Shireman is in his limited minutes, 45%. So everyone is back to where you want them. And that's fine, because if Brown and Tatum are going to be the engines of the offense and they have taken roles as playmakers a little bit more, that's better than if they were all, I agree with you, if they were all cold and just Tatum was hot and you just had to rely on heat checks the whole time and he had to carry you, scoring 40+ a game through the playoffs. You don't need to have that happen, which means you can adopt a similar mentality you had last year, which is you want to throw bodies at me, I'll drive and kick all day long and these guys will bury you. So I'm okay with that. That being said, he's still going to look for it and he's going to jack 10 of these things a game, and those 1 of 10 games aren't great. Like, it's so where I've been at with Tatum the whole time. Brown, Noah, as you pointed out, has not shot well all year. He's put himself on a 3-point diet since he realized that the shot's not there for him. And Tatum has not. So Tatum is shooting still career high numbers from 3. 10.1 coming into tonight. Yeah, 3s per game. And Brown dialed his way back. So I've always said if Tatum could eliminate 2 to 3 of those a game and either just continue working the ball, continue distributing, turn those shots into 1 extra assist per game or a few more passes or just more attempts to get to the rim, more free throws, that's all around better for him and the team. So I do wonder if he's going to embrace that, because as Bobby pointed out, what bugs me isn't as much the percentage as when he gets into these modes, he still tries to shoot his way out of it just to see if it's going to fall eventually. And you don't have that luxury later in the playoffs against better teams to sustain a lot of these really rough shooting games.
And I think you can tell the difference between when he's trying to take it within the flow of the offense, when he's trying to be aggressive out there and draw up defenders, and when he's heat checking or trying to shoot his way out of it or whatever the bad ones might be a result of. And I'd say usually you can pick out like 1, 2, 3 a game where that just wasn't a wise shot. But the Brown point's a good one, because if Brown's reeling in his 3-point attempts, you really can't have Tatum do it to the same degree too. Just because, again, this team's 3-point volume is what makes it great. When the 3s fall for him is when this team really becomes unstoppable, and I know that drives you crazy, John, that like the 1 out of 10 where that happens, everyone goes crazy, but it is reality that his ability to hit that and the threat of him hitting that is almost as good as him hitting it, actually, because it just bends the defense in a way. And like we were talking about the other day, like if you're not a threat to be shooting 3s out there at the very least, or shooting a ton of them, it's just going to change the way the defense guards you. They'll be packing the paint more. They'll be playing off him a little bit more. They'll be more willing to switch and have those big guys out on them. it drives me crazy too, just watching in the flow of the game. But I do understand a little bit why they've pushed him in this direction. I do think it's a team that really has pushed him to drive that 3-point volume up, because I think it benefits everybody else. And it's tough because people watch him and they go, oh, Tatum's awful right now, but it's benefiting everybody else around him so much.
I mean, the last thing you want is for him to be like looking wary at the 3-point line. Like I'm thinking Olympics Tatum, where he was catching the ball and you were like, oh God, like what's going on through his mind? Like that's what you definitely don't want. I think part of why
he never hesitates.
Maybe no, he did in the Olympics a little bit.
Yeah,
that's why it stood out so differently. But yeah, with this group, he never has. And I think one of the things that why the shooting slump has kind of gone under the radar is because you've never once seen him look at a 3 and like be uncomfortable, right? The reality is, yeah, him and Jalen, they're not elite 3-point shooters. They really haven't been for most of their careers. Jason had some really good seasons early on, but that's not what they do. They have that as a threat. And I think the last thing you want is somebody to just sag off them and then them to go over 6. And now you're like, oh God. But other than that, I'm really not concerned about it, because this is not that different from like the last couple playoff runs. And again, they have such a strong margin of error. If everybody else can deliver, like part of why December, January, they were struggling so much is because it was like a team-wide shooting slump. Like everybody was going through it individually. And later we learned the different storylines of Derek White and his joy and all the different things that were going on, but everybody else has kind of gotten it. So I don't know. I'm not overly worried about it. I will say, as you're reading out those numbers, there's one guy really didn't go through any slumps this season. Peyton Pritchard has been at 41% literally every month all season long.
Yeah,
so,
and I give him a lot of credit too, because
I was looking at the numbers this morning and I was like,
It's
shout out to not
unbelievable.
having a slump for an entire season in your 6th man of the year campaign, because it's the shots that he takes too. Like you would think that he had a 6 or 7 game chunk. He really never did. He had smaller sample sizes, but never.
I was going to say too, he's the exception, but when you do look at everyone else across the board and you're saying, oh, Horford's shooting great and all these other guys are shooting great, those guys almost exclusively shoot wide open 3s. So you expect it to be way above Tatum, expect it to be way above Brown. I think that's a benefit of the tough shots that those guys take. And even Brown, when it's
no
not,
question, volume
so
shooters, the
tough.
percentage is going to be different.
Sure.
Always, yeah.
And the defensive pressure too. So I give Tatum a little bit of leeway.
They're just not pure shooters though. Like, I mean, I watched them in warmups and I'm trying to get them to make like 4 in a row so I can post it without it looking like I'm slandering them. And it's like, they're not pure shooters, like they're not out there hitting 3s after 3s after 3s. They
Post
do.
the reality.
Yeah, I mean, you know how Twitter is. Like I post a clip of Tatum bricking 4 shots in a row and the brick center is going to take
You
my
guys
place.
heard it
So-
here first. Noah only posts positive videos on Twitter.
I mean, you can tell that I don't post misses in a warm up, so nobody had to.
Damn it!
Trust me, there are some guys that are no longer in the Celtics this year that really benefited
Yeah.
from my
There
not.
might be some guys on the Celtics right now.
No, nobody's like it. There were some people last year. I'm going to leave them unnamed, but I tried to help them in their careers by not.
There's not a
including their-
lot of people missing from last year's team, Noah.
Yeah, you're right.
You can do the detective work.
Wait, actually, never mind. I take it back.
Brissett, Svi,
Yeah, sorry.
those guys.
Sorry, Brissett.
I'm not going to say who it was.
Jaden.
I'm not going to say.
That's fine.
Those are my guys.
So I look, and I know everyone else saying in the chat too. Like he does so many other things. He's creating open 3s.
You don't want to shoot 30%,
they're mutually
obviously.
exclusive. You don't want your best player who's going to take 10 threes a day, 10 threes a game, shooting 30%. You don't, no matter what. If he's going to shoot them, you want him to go in more. It has nothing to do with the rest of his game. People don't have to get defensive, and it's not a knock on Jason Tatum. It's just, as you said, Bobby, and even myself, I'm surprised when I look at the numbers because
I was blown away.
He's playing so well, and you're like, oh wow, he's been cold for a bit, and that's the last 20 games, and then he had another 30% month, I think, too. So it's just been he's been battling it. He's been battling it all year. So it is what it is there, but it was
Jimmy,
an issue
where you
last
at
year.
on him?
It was an issue.
I'm kind of with you guys. I mean, listen, I think we all can agree that the shooting hasn't been where we want it to be. I think it's funny because I do agree with you that I think it's been one of his best overall seasons of his career, just the way that he distributes the ball, the rebounding. I feel like we've all talked about how he gives the game what it needs on any given night. And on some nights, it feels like he has the opponent on a string and they kind of do exactly what he wants them to do. And he's been much better at getting other players involved. But the 3-point shot has to fall. And that's why last year in the playoffs, you had people bending over backwards, writing, 2,000, 3,000 words on why Jason Tatum actually is good. Everybody, every Celtics reporter, telling you
Jimmy-
why actually he's good. And if you have to say all those words in order to prove your point, you've already lost the plot. And so the casual, you can call us casuals, you can say whatever you want. I do understand what Jason Tatum does well, but at the end of the day, when you're watching the game and he misses 7 or 8 3-pointers, you're going to say, what the hell is going on with this guy?
It's also
Why does he continue to take these shots? He's talented enough to score inside. Whenever he does get aggressive and attack the rim, and, he actually does have a bit of a bag. He just doesn't use it as much. When he does, it's
he's a power
damn.
forward. Yeah.
Right.
So one of the things that is funny about shooting percentages, because I'm always on, it's funny you guys are all surprised by the numbers. I've been monitoring his 3-point struggles, wondering why nobody's asked about it, because it as far as this discourse around this team, because they have not been good for a while. And the reality is that the difference between shooting 30% from 3 and 40% is 1 basket in a single game, because he's taking 10 a night, right? So it's 1 basket in a single game. And that's why it goes so under the radar, because the threat of the 3-point shot is as real as ever. Their teams are respecting the shot. They're not, nobody's leaving. Nobody's challenging him to shoot.
That's what matters. Yeah.
Right. And so that's the problem, is once he starts being guarded differently, it goes from being 1 shot per game that now you're missing to the entire offense is completely different. So the risk is more about perception. And there's a lot of guys in the NBA that have not been shooting well for a very long time, whose shots are still respected, like Jalen. Jalen is not a great 3-point shooter, and people don't leave him open. They don't. I mean, occasionally they do, but for the most part, but more recently, I had a highlight tape, as I said that, of all the times I've been leaving him open recently. But I think that's the reality, is that Tatum's year has been really good, with the exception of this 1 shot per game that he's missing, which has totally tanked his numbers. And
that's fine. It's just it's the 30% versus the 40%, but it had fallen into the 20s, in the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
So again, there's a point where
I'm not saying it doesn't matter. I'm just saying that's why I think people don't notice it as much.
But it's the same thing.
You
That's
can
what
tell if you're making the right read. You can tell if you're locked into the game plan and facilitating and all those things.
To use the analogy. To use a football analogy, it's the same thing like a fast receiver who just takes the top off the defense. You still have to you got to account for it. You have to defend him with one of your better cornerbacks, and you have to keep a safety over the top, because you have to be wary of it, because it can beat you. And so you can't leave him open. You have to give him attention. So the defenses have to play it the same way. It's different if it's a Russell Westbrook sort of situation where everyone's just going to sag off and be like, go ahead, man, shoot it, because it changes the way that the coverage goes. The coverages aren't changing. No one's playing the Celtics differently here because Jason Tatum's missing 1 extra 3. So you're absolutely right in that regard. It doesn't change.
But for right now, it's not. But not.
It's just, is it better if it's going in? Yes, it is better if it's going in. Right.
I do think it's important to point out, though, just how good some of the defenses they'll see are, and the capabilities of some of those teams to defend them straight up, John, as you've talked about forever. The crazy thing is, for all of us watching, is that so many teams crowd him, so many teams collapse on him, and that just lets him make the passes to all these other guys. There are going to be teams where he has to make shots against, the Thunder specifically. So when it comes down to the late stages of these playoffs, there probably will be defenses where he will have to make shots.
He's going to have to make shots or make the right decision. It's not so much making shots; it's not missing shots.
Or
right?
It's bad shots.
Yeah, bad shots. But to your point earlier, John, if
finding the guys that are hot.
Yeah, if he cut down on 3 bad shots and
that's what I've always said.
1 or 2 of those ended up into an assist, that's what, 4 or 5 points.
It's my dream of the 25. It's my dream of the 25-10-8 Tatum. That's kind of this. That's all I've been looking for, is reduce those couple of shots, especially because it makes no sense. Oh no, this is what bugs me. Is look, late in the clock, when the ball's in your hands and you have no choice. That's what scorers do. That's what these ISO guys do. That's what superstars do. You create. You find a way, you separate, you get your step back, you get that shot off. Some people can't get that shot off, period. So even getting an attempt is challenging in those types of scenarios. So you're going to discount all of those. It's the ones that are earlier in the clock where he's just like, I'm setting up my guy because I just want those. If you know you're not shooting well over the course of a year and you're not even shooting open threes at a good enough clip to feel good about how that shot's going, those just should be gone. I think, like, not completely gone, because
I don't think anybody would disagree with you on that. I think if you
keeps
asked
the defense honest,
him, if you asked his trainers, like I think everybody around him would probably have the same take. Like that's what I've heard at least.
Yeah.
If there's a critique to his game, it's like those 3 shots that have always been there. And I think part of it is like, if that's your biggest problem, and I know this is not a new point, but like if that's your biggest problem with your star player, like you're in pretty good shape. But it has consistently been the biggest thing. Like just cut those few, and also I think it would really help his MVP campaign, because
I was just gonna go
efficiency
there.
is what's been holding him back from an MVP standpoint. And you knock those 3 out, next thing you know.
To your point about the 1 percentage point or the 1 shot a game that's shifting this, that's the difference between the top players at the top of the league. And that's why I do hold him to a high standard, because he does have the capability to get up there with the greatest players, and he's still just that little step behind. And
this close
shot making.
This close. I will say, and Judah's been all over this in the chat, guys. The muscle argument is so silly. Every single NBA player comes into the league skinny, and then they grow into men and they get bigger. All of their shots don't get bad. Okay,
Isn't it crazy?
It's
LeBron?
this take drives me insane. He's too bulky. First of all, he's not even that bulky. He's literally the size he should be given his frame to play in the NBA and to be able to take the pounding that he takes, and for his body to hold up. He's the perfect size. This notion that he's so bulky it ruined his shot drives me
look at Grayson
crazy.
Allen. Grayson Allen looks like somebody inflated him, and it's like no one's complaining about that guy.
It is so
what a
silly.
random example.
Grayson Allen,
I'm gonna go LeBron, Jimmy.
Look at
I know we
Grayson
just saw
Allen.
him. I know we
this
just
year
saw him. He
compared to,
actually did
last
that
year.
too.
It looks insane.
All of these guys.
Hey guys, it doesn't happen overnight either. Like Jason Tatum's not just in the gym nonstop and then decides, oh, I'm going to shoot a basketball after 3 months. Oh my God, I'm so much stronger now. I don't know how to shoot the ball. I don't know how to use my arms. Like, it's not how it works.
Yeah.
Like, I never thought at this point in their careers we'd be saying LeBron's a better 3-point shooter than Tatum, but that's probably the case right now.
No, definitely. He's in a great 3-point stretch this past
And he
season.
takes the Tatum shots too, all these crazy ones. It's unreal.
Yeah. So that's, again, is it a concern? No, but we're at the point where we're not seeking negativity. We're seeking,
don't say anything negative, John.
Cracks in the armor. Is there anything that can derail them here from getting to the finals? The Jalen thing is and will continue to be a concern, I think, game to game. And so we'll see how that goes. The one thing I thought was, I'm not going to say encouraging, but he did say, we'll see. Maybe it does get better. Hopefully it does. If it doesn't, I'll just have to be this way. At least there's some level of hope that there's a chance that there is improvement naturally over time. That would be great. But
what a great press conference he had.
That's what I said.
I can't wait to write my post-game story.
It was the best.
He was so open. Like,
he said
was
it all.
Willing to discuss it.
Yeah, he said it all.
He really liked your question, Noah.
That's the second great question you've gotten this year. Was the first one from Joe?
What? That was a profound question.
Profound. You're stacking these. You know which ones they are.
Bobby had a win. Hey, let's not forget Bobby
had a big win today. You brought receipts, my man. Yes, you did.
Did I get
Bobby
a win?
You got a huge win right out of the gate with Joe.
Oh,
you brought receipts, and he had. Oh, did that happen tonight? Actually, yes, it did, Joe. And then he scrambled. Then he scrambled. He looked at the stat sheet. And he was like, good balance. But no, it wasn't. Drew ended up the game with 3 shots tonight. This was not good balance, Joe.
Your delivery during the story was out of hand.
That's how we envisioned it happening. We were watching it live. We went like this. Got him. He got him.
He got him.
He got him.
Yes, Bobby. Bobby for the win.
I was like, but no, he wasn't. No, I actually was noticing. I think I understood your question. Joe is tough, but
no, Bobby got him. That's a win. But Joe's gonna go home.
Joe is steaming
gonna,
right now.
Joe's gonna do 6 hours of jujitsu to let off steam for having Bobby got the best of him. He's gonna put so many people in chokeholds tonight, trying to figure out how to get out
that.
Get that aggression out.
Dummy. He's had the wrestling dummy and the leg hold for like 3 hours, just choking.
Were you
out
the last
nothing.
question of the presser?
No, he asked that.
No, Joe.
No,
he asked that one early.
Oh, so you set the tone for Joe because I was trying to. Okay.
Oh, you set the tone all
I
right.
botched the Joe one. I didn't ask the question I wanted to, but
Oh, really?
yeah.
You wanted to ask about the
Jalen-
5-man
Jalen's good.
rotations?
I'm giving you the win on Joe.
Did you want to ask about the five most popular lineups and how
Joe
the
just
starters
has
are
me all
negative?
messed up.
Oh, I
I don't
like
know
that
what
one.
to ask. My head's spinning when I go in there.
Oh, he's got you pretzeled.
He's in
Does
your
he have
head.
you pretzeled? Bobby, are you there? Hello. Earth to Bobby.
You're just.
Are you
I
pretzeled?
lost my audio like 5 minutes ago. I was trying to play it off.
Oh, you can't hear anything?
Yeah, I can't hear anything.
Oh.
Oh, okay. Well, so he is pretzeled.
I can't believe you thought you could play that off.
Oh my God!
How could you play it off in a
I'm
conversation?
sitting here telling
audio
Bobby
track.
how well he did in his press conference. All right,
Wait, so you can
Bobby's-
only hear me?
Yeah.
All right, this segment you got to stop talking. Then.
All right, Noah, can you translate? Bobby got
Can
a
we talk
win.
about the main Celtics?
Perfect.
Oh God.
Wait, what?
You have 10 seconds.
Okay.
They want to talk about the main Celtics.
They're going to the Eastern Conference Finals on Sunday. I went to Westchester yesterday. JD Davison put on a show. JD will be facing Mac McClung, last year's MVP, so it's a clash of the MVPs.
I saw
you're
your
looking
I saw
for-
your interview with there. He's nervous about going up against him because he's so quick. He's going to have to be physical with him and keep it.
John, I didn't know you were so up to speed on my Twitter account.
There's literally
I was
nothing I
fine
miss
last
anywhere. Like
I gotta say,
I'm just
There was
I'm
like
a
4 people
consumer of
tweeting me.
content, Noah. But yeah,
I was
he's got
talking about this
got
with Gary after the game.
Yeah.
JD in the G League is really something to watch. Like it's very if you just like basketball.
17 assists.
17 assists, 32 points. He did not have it going yesterday at all. Couldn't hit anything. Third quarter tie game 76-76, 4 minutes to play. He just took the game over. 14 points in the last 4 minutes. Like it's just really fun to watch. I love watching basketball. I've been watching him for a few years. I just think it's really fun to watch. It's obviously not like that newsworthy to most people, but if you are looking for something to tune into these days, as these games don't have that much meaning. Sunday they play the Magic.
I actually am interested in Norris.
Oh,
just
he's great too.
because He just got here. They swapped a guy out to go get him. He's NBA size, and that's
He can shoot too.
For all this JD conversation we're having, like it's the big wings that do intrigue you, the Petersons, the Norrises, just because like they did that with Hauser. And Norris just came here and is just shooting the ball like crazy.
27 last night for him.
When I went up and watched him, his shot looks really good. Like it's very smooth, doesn't touch the rim at all. He takes tough ones. So I'm starting to get a little intrigued with him going into next year because he'll be back next year. And maybe does he fill in some NBA minutes next year on a team that's going to maybe lose a guy or two? That's what I'm interested in seeing with them because Peterson, I don't know, we've seen him up here.
He hasn't been dominant in
hit or
Maine
miss.
either. He hasn't like.
I'm really interested to see who they're going to sign late. I feel like it's a complete toss-up at this point.
Will they definitely sign somebody?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Noah, did you keep
guys?
the
We
box
gotta
score?
we gotta
I saw
wrap
you
it.
tweet the box
Let's wrap
score.
it. Yeah.
We
Did
gotta
you keep
wrap
it?
it because Amit's gonna die. The batteries.
Did you keep
are
the
gonna die.
box score? I saw you tweet the box score last night.
I tweeted out the box score from yesterday's game. You can find it on my.
I know. I was looking at it, and I actually have a question for you. Why
Yeah?
can't Moses Brown stay in the NBA?
Oh my God! Everybody was this was like the big discussion in Westchester yesterday because he has 26 points.
back.
He has 26 rebounds literally all the time.
Right.
These are the kinds of numbers. It's like a full team game plan to try to figure out how to stop Moses Brown. Speculation.
Why can't he play in the NBA?
Okay, Jimmy, we can talk about this offline. Okay.
We'll do
Honestly,
No.
Mo Brown is one of my
Give me your take.
bad
Why
takes
this
that
people
I
are
want-
wondering
that-
if maybe it's like a character, like a buy-in, a work ethic thing. I don't know. I don't want to like say that like I know that, but that's what I was hearing yesterday because he's been on a bunch of 10-day
Right.
deals. He's bounced around. He's a
He
big
was on the
showboating
Celtics
guy.
for a second.
Oh,
Fun
really?
to-
Yeah.
He's a big showboating guy. He's fun to watch from like a viewer standpoint, but I don't know why he's not sticking because he
Celtics
doesn't make
moved on
sense
from
to
him
be.
fast.
He does not make sense to be in the NBA in the G League. Like he's
quickly. I have
Got
to acknowledge a super chat here from Ray's
Me
asking
too.
does Jason Tatum actually think he's a good 3-point shooter? The question I don't want to frame it that way.
Just make sure you say actually.
Yeah, I don't want to frame it that way, but I do wonder again.
I love the questions people send me to ask Tatum. It's so
Yeah.
funny every time.
But the mindset is interesting in terms of like he's he's far enough into this now where he's got to know that, like, I'm not awesome at this, but he's still shooting a ton. How much of that is just Joe Mazzulla game plan where volume is important? It's going to be in my hands and we got to get him up. And so,
John, no player at his level thinks, oh man, I'm just not that good at that.
No,
Nobody.
he should. He should. If he starts thinking he's not awesome, he's not going to make any.
There's no punishment. Like this is what
they
Mazzulla
can
wants.
take any shots they want.
Yeah. And that's it. That's the answer. Anyway, Bobby, what we were saying earlier when you lost your audio is I'm giving you the win versus Joe for having the receipts.
Let's go.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Having the receipts when you're like,
knew,
what do you think about balance, Joe? And he's like, what are you talking? What did that happen tonight? And you friggin' hit him with it. And that was it. You said, well, those guys. White and Holiday only took 3 shots and he was scrambling. He looked at his stat sheet. He was like, shit, Bobby got me.
I come in there with a book full of stats because I know he's going to. I've been doing this for 3 years now.
Yeah.
The usage percentage. Gary was shocked I knew that.
You were great on that. A lot of people could have choked that one away. Yeah.
Me versus Joe. The battle continues.
Yeah. You got one. We said you needed one and you got one.
Do you miss that whole monologue they were giving?
Yeah.
You're going to have to rewatch it later. They were giving you a lot of credit.
Don't let Bobby get hot.
I got some credit cake.
Bobby get hot.
Don't let him win one.
Don't let him win one. Do not let him win one.
By the way, before we sign off, can't wait to see Marcus Smart on Sunday. Making another return to the Garden. I hope this one goes a little better. But we'll see.
I went to that Memphis game last year that was supposed to be Smart's return. He didn't play, and they played like five guys who probably aren't even good enough to be in the G League this year. That was one of the worst. That game was so bad.
I remember that.
Well, the Wizards aren't any better, so.
Yeah, we'll see the Wiz. Anyway, thank you guys for hanging out. The poll, I believe, was fairly decisive. There's still a chance to have your say here to get your slice of blame pie if that's what you want, but you got to do it on Twitter. The YouTube poll is shut down. Damn it, Ahmed has a pretty sizable lead. Might be difficult to make up, but if you guys want to get after it, you can vote on X all the way up until Sunday's game. The poll remains open, but it looks like it's going to be a Damn it, Ahmed versus you're muted.
Nice. Good touch on that, John. Yeah.
Oh, I get it.
He's muted. John, you're muted.
John.
I did that for the
With
kids.
all of our audio issues, you can't do that. You can't pull out on this right now.
Bobby hasn't heard a thing in 3 hours.
I didn't have audio the whole show, Jimmy.
Yeah,
Bobby
it's
just
impressive.
blinked. Yeah, no, good work.
I can't believe you didn't have audio.
That is funny. Just call it out.
I can't hear anything.
Just, you know what I would do is say, Amit, I can't hear anything. And then that's it. And then he fixes it.
Hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like that.
I got no audio.
Perfect. You're doing great.
Right. You just pull a friggin' talent diva rant against the producers. You know how many I've been on the receiving end of so many of those in my career. So yeah.
All right, I'll keep them next time.
Okay. It's not great, but yeah, sometimes you just got to tune it up, like, you know. But anyway, thanks to Amit. Thanks to Bailey Kennedy behind the scenes, working from home, operating the studio. Thanks to Bobby. Thanks to Noah. Thanks to Jimmy. We'll see you guys Sunday as the Celtics take on the Wizards. 5 games left in the season. Celtics take down the Phoenix Suns 123-103, improving to 57-20. A good Jaylen Brown game. Sigh of relief Jaylen Brown game for those who were worried about him. We'll see what happens the rest of the way. Not us. I've never been.
Just another day.
Worried. Just another day. It'll be great. Everything's good. Kristaps Porzingis got stitches. He's fine. We're all fine. We will see you on Sunday. Thank you for hanging out. You'll see Noah chasing around the Maine Celtics sometime during the weekend, but the rest of us, you won't see us.
Go Maine Celtics.
Oh, you're not going?
They're going to miss me.
They're going to miss you. All right. We'll see you guys on Sunday. Thank you. No one's sneaking a vegan brownie by me. I'll tell you that.
Okay. You know what, John? We're going to do it.
You have to feel that way too, Bobby.
I have to feel that way.
Let's fight Al over and make Luke your first center.
Bobby, we gave you Luke an hour early. We're not going to end this on a damn conversation about Luke